During the 17th century, Edinburgh was a hub of culture, economics and education. Scotland's capital boasts a rich history, of which you can still see for yourself. Remnants of its past still stand. The stretch of road which goes through the Edinburgh Castle all the way down to the Palace of Holyrood House is the Royal Mile, Old Town's High Street. Situated on Lawn Market is Gladstone's Land. Built in the late 1500s, it is a 6-storey tenement building which was once the home to a variety of people from all different backgrounds. One of these tenants was the building's owner, Thomas Gladestone, to whom the house is named after.
So like most merchants of his time, he would have traded in things like spices, so like cinnamon or nutmeg. He would have traded in cloth, like silk, and wine would also have been a major import into Scotland at this time.
Thomas was born to John Gladestone, a burgess and treasurer for the town of Kirkcudbright. He was a newcomer to Edinburgh, and as he didn't have the status of a burgess and with it the rights to trade, he was fined for weighing iron and leaf. He became a merchant in 1610 and was admitted to burgess of Edinburgh. He was later named a guild brother when he married his wife Bessie Cunningham in 1617. This was unusual for the time, as he became free of the city by right of his wife.
He would have, of course, operated his business, so he would have had both his trading business as a merchant, but also Gladstone's land itself, so collecting rents and things like that.
In the same year, Thomas purchased the original stone and timber-built structure of Gladstone's Land from William Fisher. The building was nowhere near as grand as it became when Thomas purchased it. He spent a lot of money expanding it and reconstructing the building. He added the front to each floor, pushing it 23 feet onto the high street.
I suppose in the 17th century, the major part of life would have been the smells. So you would have had obviously nice smells like the spices downstairs, but also not very nice smells like the chamber pots being emptied onto the street. An average day in the life of a 17th century anyone would have been very smelly. Those who could afford it, so people of Thomas Gladstone's level of wealth, would have eaten meat probably twice a day, and they would have had at dinner at least 2 types of meat. So this would have been things like chicken, like venison, lamb, many of the same things we can get today. He also would have had access to spices, especially as a merchant himself. These would have helped spice up the meals, obviously. And he would have had lots of vegetables like kale and things like that.
We know he wasn't a successful merchant, as he had to sell off parts of the building to others and didn't pay off his loans in time. Thomas and Bessie stayed in the top floor apartments, but as they lost money, they moved further down the building. Despite using Gladstone's land as a guarantee for his loans, the property stayed in his family through the female line until the 18th century. Following decades of neglect, the building eventually fell into disrepair. It was condemned but saved in 1934 by the National Trust of Scotland, who bought the building. After careful restoration, it is now a popular attraction among tourists in Edinburgh. Today, Gladstone's Land shows how the wealthy went about their lives at the time, when the cramped lawn market was at the heart of one of the fastest growing and most influential cities in the world.